Hello everyone, TechTony here, and today we will be digging for ice. I will show you how to set up a drill using your newly built Rover. Uh, but I wanted to mention that in between the episode 5 and 6, I've discovered what the cause of the crash was, and it is the hologram piston you see behind me. I'm gonna change cameras to first person. So I had built this piston here, and what happened is that as it was traveling, the suspension dropped based on a hill, okay, and the piston caught a hill that was up ahead, and that caused this piston to blow up and cause damage all the way to the axis, which split up and then caused the whole clang issue nightmare. But we're back, it's fixed, and I'm going to now create a blueprint that does not have the piston, as well as taking, before I do make a blueprint, I want to show you guys your projectors. Remember, they have to keep track of every single block in your build, so they duplicate the PCU count of a blueprint. So what you want to do is, before you save your blueprint, go to your projector and remove any blueprints that are currently loaded. That will only then account for the PCU of the projector block itself, but not the. I gotta turn the rover on. Rover is off. Okay, there it is. It's on. Now, I am ready to create a new blueprint. And it's called static grid, but we're gonna rename it. I'm gonna take a new picture. Let me remove this one. Okay, so that your blueprint doesn't get a random name, you go to the control panel and select the info tab, and here you'll see grid name, and I'm gonna call it Tech Mobile Base. Okay, now I'm going to take another screenshot. Okay, and this has used the same name, but it added a 1 at the end because we already have one name, Tech Mobile Base. So I'm gonna select this one, rename it. Oh, I gotta do it with a keyboard. Okay, just, and then it asks me to replace it. Yes, I want to replace it, and now we only have the 1. So we're ready to publish. It's a rover. Oh, you can put 2. It's a rover and a base. Upload to Steam. Please read the terms. La la la. We read the terms. And we can agree. And now it's going to publish to both Mod.io and Steam. Mod.io is going to be needed for blueprints that are going to be loaded in console, and Steam for blueprints to be easily downloaded to PC games. We can only use one of the types, so I'm going to use Rover. Okay. No. It asks you if you want to open the panel so that you can customize them, but I'm not going to customize them yet. Now, to the actual topic of today. So we have our rover build, and it has plenty of iron and other resources like silicon, cobalt, and nickel. But we need magnesium and gold silver, other valuable metals. But before we do get more, so we want to build a base, another bunker base, to harvest those materials, and we're gonna do it way quicker now using our rover. But before we go and gather heavy materials, heavy metals, well, let me recharge my hydrogen. I know it's gonna be low.
Meteor storm inbound.
Ah, meteor storm coming. Okay, we will need to refill the hydrogen tanks, and to do that, we're gonna collect a bunch of hydrogen, I mean ice, and have our generators of our rover process that ice into hydrogen. Let's see, let's hope we don't get struck by meteors. Nope, seems like they're falling on the mesa top, so we're good. Okay, so notice that there was a piston there with the projection. That piston is because I put two pistons here horizontally, pushed them out, and then I built a similar connector that we did before. I'm just gonna show you. I'm just gonna show you and not waste time. Okay, we have resources. Let's get a bit more charge. Now I'm gonna get as many plates as I can. And here I am going to place one piston, and then a second. Then now then we just need a connector. Like that. Let's finish welding by adding these to our production queue. Don't forget to add the top piston parts. Okay, looks good. Gonna drop all the plates, gather what I have, produce what I don't. There they are. We can probably withdraw. No, full inventory. All right. Oy. Okay, so we have the connector. We just need a piston and a top piston part. Why can't you withdraw the large steel tubes? Add to production. There they are. That's annoying. You can. Okay, that placed. Now we can extend these pistons. Just extend them to the full distance. Yeah, just go. Okay. Now I want to make sure my hydrogen is good. H2. Okay, I'm gonna drop all these materials and then get a bunch of steel plates. So basically what we're going to do is lift a random block, try to get this block, okay? It's probably not gonna place there. Okay, and right here. So we need to place a block that's aligned with this one at the top. As close to it as possible. Okay, let's try there. Nope. A little bit too far away. Let's try that. Then now we have to raise this block until we can fit connector like that. So we have to move a little bit further back. I'm gonna line it. They don't have to be perfectly aligned. If they're within a certain distance from them each other. Okay, let's weld that, and we'll also need a battery. So I'm gonna place the battery now because it's also gonna need steel plates. We can use this connector as well. Add to production. Okay, it's a bit too far away. Well, maybe not. Okay. Can I withdraw the power cells? Why not? Okay, are the assemblers on? They are on. Production. Missing item, silicon. Inventory. You have silicon? There's ton of silicon. In the cryopod. Why is it in the cryopod? I'm gonna remove. I know why. The assemblers are clogged. Okay. So I need to look for the assemblers. Rover assembler, show in terminal. KSP module. Okay, assemblers in is gonna turn. I'm gonna turn it off, and then assemblers out. I am going to drain all yes and drain all yes. And I'm gonna add ingots for a second, so that it drains out all the ingots. Then I'm gonna remove ingots, and then I'm gonna turn back the assembler in, and then our assembler should have been purged. No, they weren't. Assemblers out. Ingots. Inventory. Assemblers. Control panel. Now I can empty them out. I had to empty them out a matter. Maybe I should have given it a little bit more time. Why is it in the cryopod? Right, that looks better. Let's say our personal H2 tank. There it is. Control panel, assemblers in, assemblers out. Both are out. Assemblers out, remove ingots. Actually, we can leave ingots. Alright. Production resumed. And now we can withdraw battery components. So yeah, clogging is an issue that you have to deal with. So I'm not gonna cut that so that you learn how to manage when assemblers get clogged and refiners get clogged. Okay, so it looks like they're still not close enough. I am going to move the rover slowly. I don't recommend this too, really. And I'm gonna adjust the camera. Okay, make sure to park the rover. Control panel. They probably are not ready to lock. No. We're gonna have to try this again. Okay, so we lower the foundations. Here's the thing. Okay, here's the trick. Just lift the foundation so that it is at the same vertical level too. And then match the edge. There. That's better. Ah, man, it's just too close. But that's no problem because we can always retract these. So let's take this piston and reverse it just a little bit. Okay, let's stop it. There we go. Okay, now let's push this piston. Oh, it's off. Until it stops. Okay, it reached the end. Awesome. That is gonna be fully connected. But we removed the battery, so we need to place it again. I can no longer reach the connector. Okay, let's recharge our hydrogen while the production produces. It's annoying. I have to manually. I don't know what's wrong with the system, that it doesn't want to feed me the components. Oh, the battery. It doesn't have a problem if I access them through the connector, but if I access them through the storage container, and they shouldn't, there's no problem. Cannot withdraw power cells, but if I go and look for them manually, I can withdraw them. It's so annoying. So it should, if it allows you to withdraw them manually, it should allow you to withdraw them with a build planner. I thought if I reloaded, it would fix, but it's not. It's still happening. I may have to grind away that block and try to grind it again, see if that helps. Okay, we have a battery.
Storm inbound.
And now these are yellow, meaning that we can connect them. So production, control panel, lock. Excellent, excellent. So now we can build a drill out of this grid and charge it with a rover. In the case of an emergency, we are ready. We're not going to be attached to a whole massive grid. We're only attached to the connector, so we can disconnect and start move our rover if we needed to. Okay, so now notice that I did place armor blocks here, so I need to replace these 4 conveyor blocks. Let's do that. Okay, first you'll need to make sure that the structure doesn't collapse when you start grinding away blocks. So I just put another reinforcement on the side so that it's attached all the way to the bottom, and then I can start removing. And I just need to remove those 2. Excellent. We have conveyor blocks. I'm gonna start welding these. Okay, we can get rid of these now. And let's finish the... You can even access this one. And weld. Excellent. Now, we're going to use this station to build a drill. I should have probably placed it a little bit better. Nah, it's gonna be plenty of space. Actually, it's gonna be perfect. Okay, so let's look for more steel plates. And I'm also gonna grab interior plate. So I usually put 3 pistons facing upwards. Okay. Then 1 conveyor block. Then 2 pistons facing outwards, horizontally. Another conveyor block. And then you can fit 7 pistons downwards. But in order to fit the rest of the pistons, notice I can only fit 3. We'll need to also extend the upward pistons, and then we can fit 4 more pistons and a whole set of drills. We'll use the X pistons to add clearance so that our drills do not hit the conveyor ports here that are attached to the connector. Okay, so I'll be back once I weld all this up. Okay guys, we have welded the pistons. Now we're ready to extend them. So I like to organize them too. So piston up 1, I call it U1, okay? And then because since we have so many pistons, we don't want to mess them up, especially once you have the drill operating. You don't want to retract the wrong piston and then everything collapses. So then, now that we have named them, the up ones, we can also group them. Up, save, and now let's extend them fully. There they are, they're fully extended. They're not fully extended. Pistons up, reverse. There you go. Alright. Those are now fully extended. Let's extend these ones. So this is piston X1. And I guess next one is going to be piston X2. X2. And then I can group these ones. X. And now I can extend them. The rest are gonna be pistons down, so I don't have to name all 7 of them. Okay, we have 3. Okay, fuel low.
Fuel critical.
It tells you once you run out of fuel. It's annoying. I don't have an access port. I'm just gonna have to fabricate my own staircase. Luckily, I have steel plates. Okay, we can access to recharge Rover tank H2. Recharge. And then top it off to 100. And get more plates. Okay. Then we can fit 1, 2, 3, and 4 plus the 3 we already had makes 7. Notice the clearance. You still have a little bit of clearance. Okay. Next, you want to place 1 conveyor port, and then you want to alternate between conveyor ports and drills. Drills facing downwards, like that. And then what I do is I keep welding until I reach the I keep placing, alternating conveyor ports and drills until I get as close to this as I feel comfortable, which is 1 block away from it. because the drill does rotate, does move around. So you want it to have a little bit of clearance. Oh. Okay. Probably one more is all I'm willing to go, because if I attach another drill, it would be 2 blocks away, and it would be right next to it. So that would be 5 drills on one side. Maybe we can fit a 6th. Now stop shaking. Yeah, definitely. There's 1 block space gap between the no. We have the battery there. We can get rid of the battery since we're already attached to our rover. We'll use our rover's power. I rather that. Yeah, I don't care about the inventory full. Okay, we're gonna need more plates because I need to finish the other side, and then I'm gonna pause so that I can weld them, and we'll go back to that. But let me just show you that I have to make it symmetrical. So we have to fit 6 drills on the other side. We have a conveyor port there in the middle. So let's add 1 drill. Okay, we'll need interior plates. Let's also recharge hydrogen. Rover tank H2. These generators are being annoying, so I'm gonna look for them, and I'm gonna say hide from inventory screen. And then we're gonna look for interior plates. Looks like there's none. That's good. Man. Okay, there we go. Now, conveyor port. Next drill. Another conveyor port. Another drill. I hate within reach. They're already in the correct position, and then they realign into an incorrect one. Okay, so we have 3. We need 3 more. Make sure it's important, not just for the clearance of the other structure, but it is important for the balance. Okay, when you start collecting stone, the stone is gonna put weight. Notice how it rocks around based on the balance, and it's actually tilted because it has more drills on one side, meaning more weight than on the other. It'll level out once we have exactly the same blocks on either side. Okay, but also once you start collecting stone and ice, that ice is gonna put weight on the drills. 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5, so we do need 1 more. And if they're misaligned, it's gonna tilt the drill, and the hole is gonna be all slanted and not perfect. So it's not gonna be a perfect circle cylinder downwards. And right now it looks like it's slanted, but it's because the floor is not perfect, right? There is slope. I'll show you. You see the level. If I stand on these, the level should be perfect. Yes, it is perfect. That's because these are perpendicular to the gravity, not the actual floor indentation. And that's important because when we launch a starship, we're gonna launch relative to the gravity, and we're gonna fly upwards in a 90-degree angle to space. So we don't want exiting a silo. Look, we're gonna build a cylinder large enough for rockets to exit. So it can be, this is how exactly I build silos as well, using a drill just like this. and you don't want your rocket brushing up against the walls of the silo. So that's why it's so important that before you start drilling, you have your drill fully aligned to the gravity and not the floor, the terrain. Okay, so with that said, I am just gonna cut now and weld the rest of the tip, and then we'll come back and turn it on, and I'll show you how to operate it. Okay, so be right back. Alright guys, I have finished welding the drill. If we take a closer look, you can also notice that I installed a industrial cockpit, and that's because the industrial cockpit's conveyor port is at the top of the block, so therefore I can connect it and still be upright. You can install a regular cockpit, but it will be upside down, and I've used that, it's no problem. Next, I've installed lights because once we reach over 70 meters down, it's gonna get very, very dark. So we want to be able to see the drill and what it's doing if it gets stuck, even from above. You can even put a camera at top, but I think we don't need to. So I'm going to also note that the cockpit is so that once we're down there, if we get stuck, for example, we're working on a drill and suddenly our hydrogen is lost, right? We lose all the hydrogen. Having a cockpit down there means that we'll be able to, one, access our hydrogen tanks up in the rover and be able to recharge even if we're in the bottom of the pit, um, but also recharge our energy so that we can continue working and not die because of cold or anything like that. So without further ado, let's jump in the cockpit. I like this cockpit also because I can configure, and what I've done ahead is I've already grouped the drills. So I'm gonna say the first toolbar slot is gonna be for turning on the drills. Next, I'm going to have the rotor, advanced rotor lock for me. So when I never need to stop the rotor, I can just trigger lock on and off. And next, I want to look for my pistons down piston. First, I actually start with the upwards one. Because remember that we extended the up pistons so that we could fit the downward pistons. But now we have 10 pistons that we can retract in order to push downwards. So we'll first retract the upward pistons and then extend the downward ones, and then we'll reach literally 100 meters down into the ground. Okay, so that's a lot of distance to build a bunker in, and you reach pretty much any metal that's down there as well. Okay, so pistons up, we're gonna set the velocity. Remember, the combined velocity should be not more than 0.007. I'm gonna do 0.006. So in that case, since I have three pistons, it's gonna be the velocity 0.006 2. So that combined they equal 3. I mean 6. Notice that I set the velocity in a positive value, so that means they're extending. So right now there's no movement to the pistons because they are already extended. So all I have to do in order to start the machine is to reverse them at this point. So I want to set one of the toolbar slots to have my pistons up reverse. Okay, and that's pretty much it at this point. Oh no, we need to configure the rotor just like we did the other rotor over there. First lock it, because once you add velocity, we're gonna lower the torque. Once you add velocity, it's gonna start rotating. So we're gonna add around 71 RPM is pretty good, and now we are good to go. So all we have to do is, I'm gonna zoom out so that you can see what I'm doing. First, we're gonna turn on our drills. Notice that they're already gonna start drilling part of the ground. So I'm letting them drill their own space before I turn the rotor on. Now I'm gonna unlock the rotor, and then it should just start rotating. It's not pushing downwards yet because I want to get a full clearance around so that the entire ground is clear before I start pushing downwards. So let's leave it do a full rotation. The other side is about to catch. There it is. It's catching on the ground. So let it clear a little bit. Okay, that is a half rotation, but we have pistons on either side, so it equals a full rotation. So we're ready to reverse our upwards pistons. Now our upwards pistons are gonna be contracting in a velocity of 0.002 meters per second each, combined 0.006 meters per second. And in a few moments, in a bit of time, notice it, you can barely see it, but it is pushing downwards. It'll start leveling, but you want it to go slow because you don't want the drills to get stuck or catch because they couldn't dig fast enough the terrain. So let it drill and then come back, and you should see that the drill has continued on for a long time. What you want to also keep note is that you're gonna be gathering stone. It shouldn't be an issue because we have a speedy refinery, but you don't want your inventory to clog. Also, your rotor tip may break if it catches or if the ground causes too much resistance. It may break and it may prevent resources from traveling upwards. That doesn't mean that your drills are going to turn off or that your pistons are going to stop. So they could continue pushing downwards and drilling into the ground, and you don't notice that your rotor tip is broken and it's not actually transporting materials upwards. So you will lose a lot of materials that you're collecting. So just keep in mind that and always monitor it. But that's why we have this cockpit over here, so that we can just jump on the cockpit AFK because we're in a pressurized environment. But before you AFK, make sure that you open your helmet, that the doors are locked, your vent behind you is pressurized, meaning green, and then you can just use your toolbar to remove. You can press J on PC, and now your engineer is breathing the oxygen. Otherwise, it's breathing the oxygen in your spacesuit. So even in a pressurized environment, you may suffocate if your suit runs out of oxygen. But now, like here, we're ready to AFK and just wait until our drill is done. I'll be monitoring, especially at the beginning, until it's fully underground. So once the drill bit, all the drills and the conveyor ports are underground, and the level below the drill is the surface below the drill is level, then I can safely AFK and know that the drill is just gonna keep going until until the pistons reach their full distance. Notice that only the upward pistons are moving right now, so we'll have to come back and activate the downward pistons to keep it pushing. But when we come back, you'll see there's gonna be a massive crater down here. So without further ado, I'm just gonna pause because there's no point in waiting an hour for the drill to do its thing. And these high def videos, it's hard to do a time lapse for so long amount of time. But yeah, we'll be back shortly once we have the drill fully dug. Okay, the silo fully dug. And at the time, we're also gonna be processing the ice into hydrogen. So when we come back, by the time that the hole is dug, our hydrogen tanks should also be full. So hope to see you then. Be right back. All right, everyone. I wanted to show you, we haven't drilled fully, but I wanted to show you what happened. Uh, it was important for me to keep an eye out on it initially. As you can see, there's a scar on the circle. When we started drilling for ice, eventually our cargo on our rover filled up. And what that did was that after that, the inventory of the drills, notice that each one has 23,000 liters capacity, but the drills don't fill up until the rover is full. Once there's no more cargo, then the drill is gonna start holding the ice. And what that did is that it put a ton of weight on the pistons, and they curved. They actually dipped down, and then they got stuck on the ground because they dug more than they were supposed to. So they went deeper than they should have at that time in a very short amount of time. Like they got a ton of weight and then they dipped downwards. Um, I didn't grab it on film, but in order to fix that, what you want to do is have plenty of cargo and keep an eye on your inventory as the drills are collecting. If I open my inventory now and I show you that the large cargo container is only has 20,000 liters left, and then the other one has also 20,000 liters. So they both filled up, and that caused the issue. So what I did to fix it was add more cargo on this side. Here I added 4 more cargos, and notice that they're at the surface, so they're meant to be temporary. But so that and I also installed 6 more hydrogen tanks and a bunch of generators so that I can process that ice even quicker. But all this is temporary, and notice this configuration is high cost in terms of PCU, and that's why we are doing this before we build a massive starship. Okay, but we're going to put all these resources at the surface level, and then once we have the hole dug, we're going to create cargo down there. We're going to create more empty tanks, and then we're going to transfer the hydrogen and the whatever inventory we have left, if we have any ice left, we're going to move it down into the bottom of the bunker. But first we need to drill it out. So that's why I built them temporarily up in the surface so that I can continue drilling without getting the system clogged. Then I'll move them down there and I'll have my reserves, and by then we should probably also have 6 tanks worth of hydrogen filled. All right, so I'll continue drilling, and in order, notice that the drill is really high up, so really far from the surface. In order to fix that, okay, what I do is, let me switch to third person camera. I first turn on the drills. I had to fix this because so I have to reassign it. Let's set the drills on and off. So first I turn on the drills, and then we can assign pistons down, reverse. I want to check my pistons because I pushed them upwards really quickly. So pistons up probably have a ton of velocity. Look at the velocity. If I reverse it, it's gonna go 5 meters per second downwards. So I want to lower that velocity, and I want to say exactly 0.002. The velocity was fine. There was no problem with this velocity. It was that the inventory clogged. So now that the velocity is set and all I have to do to start it up is reverse it, I'm gonna look for one of the downward pistons, okay? And I'm gonna say show blocking terminal. Over here, they should be highlighted. I'm gonna pick any one of them. And this one, I'm going to increase its velocity. It's off. It's off? Yes, it's off. So there it is. It's pushing downwards at a velocity of 0.1. I don't even know which one it is. I'm increasing it and I'm gonna turn it off as soon as it touches the ground. I can see the drills behind the HUD. There it is. It touched the ground on that corner. I think we can continue going. There. Let's just leave it there. All right. So we're gonna restart our drill from this position. It's the first moment that the drill caught the ground. So I want to start drilling here. So now I need to configure my rotor. Again, advanced rotor. I'm gonna I had a bug, so I had to lock inertia tensors. The pistons started swinging even faster and increasing speed, which is odd because energy should not increase. So I had to use inertia tensors to lock kind of everything down. You see? It's like a swinging motion. Okay. Everything should now be without inertia tensors. Now our rotor, okay, should be able to, we lower the torque. Torque is good. Velocity is good. All we have to do is unlock it. Okay. Rotor looks good. Now all we have to do is to look for our downward pistons and turn them back on. No, not the downward pistons, sorry. The upward pistons. Turn them back on. Set the velocity 0.002 since we have 3. And then reverse. And now the drill should be pushing downwards. Pistons down. There's 7. So it's gonna be 0.0001, but in the reverse, because I don't want them extending just yet. And now I can turn them on. I'll leave the downward pistons on. Check the inventory. Industrial cockpit. Check the drills. These large cargo containers should be fine. Okay. Everything should be operating properly now. Okay, so I'll just come back. If nothing happens, no news, good news, right? So if we could come back and there's a full hole dug, then it means that the drill was successful in continue drilling all the way down. But it'll take a bit, so I'll be back when that's done. All right. Excuse me. Okay, okay. Looks like okay, I have to turn it off though. Okay, so yeah, it happened again. 6 large cargo containers aren't enough. They're full again. So we have to wait for either the refinery. Let's make sure our refinery is working. It is on inventory, refinery. It's going. It's processing all the stone that it's getting. So, and it's also clogged with ice. Wow, there's just a ton of ice. But that's good. That's great. There's a ton of fuel, and we're gonna store it underground. So whenever we need fuel, we'll be able to come back here and refuel. Let's move the stone into a rover and the ice into the cargo containers. Nah, nah, it's all clogged. So what I'm going to do, I could set ejectors to throw out stone, which I think is convenient, but it's mostly ice that's clogging up the system. It is not the stone, really. The stone is gonna get, well, oh yeah, there's a lot of stone here. Let's see. You can choose to wait for the stone to be processed by your refinery, or set your ejectors to throw out the stone, but it's just gonna clog again with ice. So I rather wait, in my case, until the hydrogen is full, because I also have a ton of tanks that are processing the ice and the stone is being processed as well. So I'll just let the rover do its work processing these resources. And once I clear the ice, okay, it's gonna get way quicker, because instead of processing stone, I'm gonna use the fast mode for the drills, the ones that you use to drill space and not resources. You can do that also not with just your mining drill, but you can also do it with the grid drills, the large grid drills, or the small ones as well. But we'll use that to set our pistons to a higher velocity. Our rotor will stay the same, but the pistons will dig a little bit quicker. And then from our cockpit, we'll be able to dig using our left click, our left joystick, or it's your right click mouse, your right click button. You'll see when we do that, but I don't want to do it on the ice, because that's what the whole point of collecting this part, or drilling here, is so that we can collect this ice and use it to power our our starship. But notice that by the time we start building our starship, we'll already have a ton of hydrogen fuel ready to uh, use. So as soon as we have the ship, it'll be ready for launch. Okay. So next, I'll just wait until it's processed and then turn the drills, and I'll see you back. Notice that as the rover is processing resources, it's emptying out the drills, removing that weight, extra weight that it had, and they're no longer pushing into the ground, which caused this dip in the first place, and the drill to get stuck. Another thing you can note is the thickness. Sometimes the ice is not as thick, but I knew that I was gonna get plenty of ice regardless, so I didn't check. But now, from now on, since I can be picky about the drills I make, I can inspect. I can use my small drill to inspect an ice deposit before I decide to spend the hour in drilling the hole. But this is where I want to build the silo. So this is gonna be a base location next to an iron mine, which is already exhausted, but whatever. So I'll be back once I have a little bit more inventory space that I can process the ice and I start drilling for speed. Okay. All right, guys. Most of the node has been harvested, so I am going to turn off the drills, lock the rotor. Which one is the rotor? Hey, I locked it. Or I reversed it, not sure. Let's make sure. Yes, it is locked. Okay, good. Now, what we're going to do is instead, we're going to configure our cockpit to be able to control the drills manually. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, I'm going to open the HUD, and then here we go. Notice that if I'm in the control, I can press LA and LB to switch between different D-pad configurations. So I'm gonna use this D-pad to assign again the rotor. Well, let me say the up direction is gonna be, instead of group drills on and off, the difference is I'm gonna select block tools and I'm assign the drill. That way I'm gonna be able to manually switch to the weapon drill, and then notice that I'm controlling them using my mouse controls directly. So now I also want to be able to control the rotor, all blocks, rotor, lock, on and off, and then the pistons, group tools, pistons, up, we're going to on and off because I want to be able to stop them. Then pistons down, I want to also be able to stop them. Okay, now control panel, I'm going to look for my pistons up and I'm going to set their velocity to 0.001. Let's try that.
Meteor storm inbound.
Oh, hopefully the meteors don't hit the rover. Okay, then they're off. So I want to now turn on my switch to my drills, turn on my rotor, or unlock it, and then use the right click to dig for space. Notice that I'm gonna dig way more area than I was before. So I'm gonna do one full round, full loop, because these have more range than the finer setting that is to collect resources. So this will dig a wider area around and a deeper depth as well. So that's why I'm making sure to let it complete an entire rotation so that it levels the ground to the full distance of this drill setting. Okay, I think we're almost done. I see an edge over there that is a little bit, we're about to clear it. There we go. Okay, I think that's level. So now we can turn our up pistons on and have them reverse downwards. So we'll have to look for them. I'm gonna turn them off again. I'm gonna turn them off again because they're in the positive velocity. So they're pushing upwards and they're fully extended, I think. So let's look for pistons up. Pistons up. Velocity. It's correct. The velocity is correct. And then reverse them so that they're negative. So that they're now contracting. And let's turn them on and see if that is a good velocity for us to dig at. And we can zoom in a little bit. I think we can go faster. So I want to turn them off. And one thing I want to do is there's a different way to operate pistons. So I can set one slot to my group pistons up, okay, to increase velocity or decrease velocity. So I'm gonna say up is gonna increase velocity, and then down is gonna decrease it. So group pistons up, make sure you're selecting the right pistons. Up, no, group pistons up, decrease velocity. Okay, so now I want to decrease velocity, but now I can control it manually. I can operate my drills and now start lowering it. No, that's too much. But now I can let it do its rotation and then decrease it a little further. And that way you make sure also it doesn't clog. So this is how we drill for speed, to make sure, because otherwise we would have to wait hours for it to dig 100 meters in depth. But you'll see. Okay, so I'll get a time estimate of how much it takes. I'll note at the time to now, and then I'll tell you. We'll be back once I use this process to dig further, to dig the full length of all the pistons. Remember, I'm gonna increase velocity once the rotation is complete, and I'm ready to dig more depth using the fast setting for the drills. Then, once the upward pistons are fully contracted, I will switch to the downward pistons and start extending those until they reach their full extent. At that point, I would have reached the bottom of the full reach of the drill, and okay, it's time to increase velocity. Nope, I mean decrease it. Decrease it because it's contracting the pistons. Then dig a little bit and then stop it. Stop it by increasing velocity, doing the opposite, and it'll stop. And now we can drill a little bit further, and then we'll repeat the process. But this way we'll dig in no time. Next, once we reach the bottom, we'll place in the way bottom. We're gonna place the storage containers and the hydrogen tanks, and then with conveyor ports, move everything downwards, down there. We can even use a connector and take advantage that we're gonna have a piston already down there. Okay, so we're gonna use the same piston to attach a connector and then transfer all the hydrogen and all the ice that's left over down to the bottom of the um, pit, and then okay, it's ready to decrease velocity. Oh, I think we can leave it in the setting. Let's see. It's decreasing velocity at a slow rate. So it's digging. I don't have to increase or reduce velocity. This is the lowest setting for the decrease velocity option for the piston group. But yeah, once we transfer everything, we'll be ready to start building down there a rocket ready, and we'll also install a latch at the surface so that we can control um, it using hinges and open it and close it. That is going to prevent people from dropping bombs on the interior of our silo, where it's going to be the spacecraft and all the components. So yeah, I'll be back once I've fully dug the ravine or the pit, the silo. Okay. All right, everyone, welcome back. We have fully dug the hole. I dug it within 25 minutes time using the speed setting. And I also wanted to share with you those settings because I fine-tuned it. At first, it was kind of the drill was rocking side to side, so it was drilling in a irregular pattern. It wasn't a perfect circle. So I had to adjust it. And what I have done is set the rotor to a velocity of 93. So I upped it from 73 to 71 to from 0.71 to 0.93. And also the downward pistons are set to a velocity of zero point 0.2. So combined it's 0.14 uh, because I have 7 pistons. So 0.02 times 7 equals 0.14. That is the combined velocity that the pistons are pushing down into the ground while I'm holding the button. Well, let me turn on the light. The button for the fast drill for it to drill fast. And if you look up, we have a good amount of distance from the surface. And if you want it, you can obviously install more pistons. You can actually retract the ones you have and install a ton of them. Oh my god. A spider fell on top of my head and killed us. Oh no, I respawned in the iron mine. No matter, we'll get there. No trouble. It's right next to the iron mine that we're building. But that was hilarious, man. A spider fell from the surface on top of my head and killed killed the engineer. Now, here we are back out where we started. We were building. There's my body location. If you die, don't forget to get your nice tools out of here.
Fuel low.
Oh, no.
Fuel critical.
Now we already grabbed the hydrogen tank, so we should be fine. And I actually, you get bad tools at the beginning, so I just drop them inside the body respawn bag, and they'll despawn eventually. I want to recharge my hydrogen, so let me do it by jumping in the cockpit here, looking for this hydrogen tank, and then it's full. Okay, good. Now, let's actually check on how our hydrogens are doing. Look, they're only 26% filled. So that means, and that's including the ones in our rover because they've been filling up at the same rate, all of them. So let's also check our cargo. Oh, look, there's plenty of ice. Plenty of ice to still process. So that's gonna keep going. I'm gonna hide empty. That's gonna keep going processing ice. Oh wow, it's everywhere. Gonna try to stack it all. Okay. It's a lot of ice. Yep. We have exactly four, no, even more. 5 large cargo bins full of ice. 4 and a little bit more. And half of one of pure ice. Plus all we have again a ton of ingots. So our rover is very heavy, so we gotta be aware of that. But all these materials will leave down here because this is going to be a base location. We're going to settle in this bunker. So next thing I want to do is to find the exact center for this foundation, this floor. And that's why I want to show you before I retract the drills. I am going to use the piston to find that center. But first, I need to get rid of the rotor and all the drill and conveyor ports attached. So what I'll do is I'll disconnect this rotor. I don't care about all that. Okay, that's fine. And now I'm going to place one storage container. I need interior blocks. I should have gotten the interior blocks before, but it's okay. We can get them from here. We have hydrogen still. Here they are. Actually, let me just queue up one medium container. No, small cargo container. I'm gonna deposit everything and then withdraw. Production. There he goes. Oh, it's out of cobalt. It's out of cobalt. Where am I gonna get some temporary grids? There we go. We got grids. And we're going to install one cargo container at the tip of the piston. That's so that we can access components and we can also recharge our hydrogen from here. For example, we can now access everything and I can drop the hydrogen, recharge it, and keep going. I can also drop my tools. So now I can efficiently grind away all these tools and I don't have to fly all the way back to base. So I can just drop them through this cargo chute pretty much, practically, you know. So let me grind away everything and we'll be right back. All right, we're back and we have grinded away all the drills and stashed them in our rover again. Now what we're going to do is start by placing, okay, a few blocks, a few conveyor blocks
Meteor storm inbound.
downwards until we get as close to the edge as possible. Actually, no. No, 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 no. Even better. Even better. What am I doing? Okay, use armor blocks. Install one connector. Same thing we were doing with the rover when we built it. One connector. Then armor, block, and then another connector. Alright, perfect. Now, what's gonna happen is you're not gonna be able to weld it to the ground. Yep. I think we can still do it because I can convert it to a station. So let me weld it and try that. I'll need to install a battery as well, so it's gonna take a bit. So let me do that and we'll be right back. All right, we're back and I have attached the battery to the new grid. The connector also has been locked with the rover's grid. And notice I left these two blocks unwelded. That's because I'm going to detach them. And what's going to happen is that once these blocks are disconnected, the connector and the rest is going to become a separate grid. But it's going to remain immobile because it's going to stay locked to the drill bit. So there it goes. Now, this should be a grid on its own. And I can check, if I check on info, yes, grid name, large grid. And it is a type of Hmm. Ship has to be stationary in order to convert it to a station. Both angular and linear velocity have to be 0. The more performant stations are more performance friendly. Okay, so the velocity has to be 0. It looks like it stopped wiggling. Let's try again. No, it's still wiggling. What if we attach... Okay, let's check our hydrogen. Yeah, it's low. Here it is, hydrogen tank. Done. Okay, let's add one block here, another block here, and then try to put a landing gear right below. Okay, we'll have to go a bit higher up. Let's try to weld this. Production. Just barely. And we cannot add any more distance to the pistons because they're fully extended and these ones are fully contracted. Okay, we can do the opposite. Instead of locking it to the ground, we can lock it to the wall. No, more distance. Looks like it's not moving. Let's try again. Info. No, it's moving. Okay, let's control panel. Turn off the pistons. Oh well. Let's try just bringing it up. Seems like this is more of a hassle. Oof. That looks good. Let's try. Let's try bringing it up. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, let's grind away this. Ouch. Alright, we're good to go. Stop moving. Okay, it's
Storm inbound.
it's unaligned again. Okay, there it goes. Perfect. Then
Inventory full.
okay, inventory full. Let's drop motors, everything except the steel plates. Okay, that didn't work out. Oh, don't freeze. Okay, that was good. Okay, we gotta get rid of this as well. We can push it over, tip it over. No, yeah, let's just get rid of it. I don't care. I'll pick up the inventory later.
Inventory full.
Okay, now let's add one armor block. And we're gonna attach a connector, but we can't because it doesn't have enough room. So we're going to retract this very piston just a little bit. We gotta turn it on. And then let's try there. No, a little bit more. So now all I have to do is turn it on and it's gonna retract a little bit. 96, there we go. Let's try again. Okay, then I can get it just right so that I don't have to then bring it back down. Okay, 9.3. Let's try that. Almost there. Okay, 9.1. I mean 9.0. Why don't you want to place it? Unable to place connector. There's nothing on top of it. So I guess it's the piston needs to be retracted a little bit further. Hmm. Okay, let's retract it far. There we go. Now it's able to place. Let's finish welding it. Oh, hydrogen. Nice, we got it. Excellent. So now, again, we'll need a battery here. But before I do get the battery, let's connect the connector to a separate separate stack of armor blocks.
Energy low.
I'm gonna start welding them so that I can make room. For that tube that was blocking the way. Now we can weld this bottom and get rid of these temporary armor blocks. Just make sure that you place the armor block on the one side that the connector can be attached to other blocks. This side cannot support blocks, as you can see, but this one, the lateral ones do. All right, so next we can put the conveyor ports down. I'm gonna put one conveyor port before I put anything else, including the large storage container. I'm gonna have to extend my armor blocks so that I can fit that armor container, that cargo container. I'm gonna do the trick of flipping upside down to place blocks. I'm gonna weld them before I grind the others away. Let's also get the conveyor.
Energy critical.
Okay, steel tubes. Okay, it's not connected, that's why. What happened to this? Did we run out of battery? Oh yeah, we ran out of power. Okay, Rover. This is important because our survivor kit is off, but we still have the one inside the mine. So, Rover batteries, showing terminal. Now we can see them here, fully depleted. Yep, they're all fully depleted. So how are we gonna solve this? Easy. That's why the first thing we went after was ice. So we're going to look for our engines and we're gonna turn them on. Notice that instantly the rover turned on. Uh, Now they're gonna be processing hydrogen. Nice. Even though our engines are on, our tanks are still filling up. So they're not also gonna empty out, but we have to be aware. So I'm gonna look at the batteries and I'm gonna say, look, it says fully recharge in 1 hour. So before the energy was depleting, but now with the engines on, it's actually recharging. So the engines are powering the refinery and the generators, everything else, the turrets, everything else. Plus, it's recharging the batteries as well. So that's how much power those engines make. And therefore, in an hour, we only have to turn them off. So I'm gonna set a timer for an hour. Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna finish building here. We don't have to skip or anything because now that everything is powered, I can access components again. And next, oh, I need my energy. My energy is low.
No energy.
Okay, we've recharged our power suit. Now let's go back and finish connecting the bunker station, the beginning of it. Okay, so now I want to create down here. We have that connected, an interior plate. Well, let me see what we need for a large cargo container. We'll need all that. So let's place it right there. Notice that I clipped into the ground. That's important so that it doesn't have a chance of breaking and falling down. And then instead of producing the components, I'm gonna look for one of these containers up in the surface, and I'm going to empty it out and start moving it down there in order to weld the other one. Then I'm gonna place a battery, and I'll see you guys then once that is all done. Alright guys, we have moved the cargo components. I don't need that much cargo here because we've already processed a ton of the ice. So if I need more, I'll add. But for now, the remaining I have stored away um, in the rover. The remaining components for the cargo. So we have three here, and next I'm going to move try to connect this drill to the connector at the bottom, but I'll need a battery before I can do that because notice that the connector is operating red. So let's get enough for a battery, and the connector is hard to get, so I'm gonna use the storage container. Withdraw. No power cells, so let's put them to production. Yep, there they go. And I'm gonna put it right here. Perfect corner. Now all we need is those power cells. Where are they? Here they are. Yeah, I don't know why that assembler doesn't want to feed it to the build planner. I have to look for them. Alright, two more times and we're good. Okay, five more power cells. There they are. Awesome. We have a battery. That means our connector is now good, operational, but it's look at the light is indicator white, so it means that it's not fully ready to lock. So this piston needs to lower a little bit until it's within range. So what we're going to do is we're going to reverse the piston because we were already lowering it pretty slowly. So now all we have to do is turn it on and it's gonna lower. And let's do two at a time until we see yellow. We see yellow indicator. And no, we'll need a little bit more. I noticed that it started moving around. That's because the magnet locked them. And now that they're yellow, even though they're not touching, they're ready to be connected. So I can just try to get one connector here and say lock. Excellent. Now, we can recharge this battery. So we make sure that our station has power. So let's recharge it. Okay. Second, let's transfer everything down here now that we have the chance. Control panel inventory. So we were going to select on this side. This is that large cargo container. I'm actually gonna name it. I'm gonna say cargo bunker 1, and then here I know these are the ones because they're the same color. That means they're the part of the same grid. So I'm gonna say cargo bunker 2, and I use cargo first for sorting. Cargo bunker 3. Okay, so now if I change this and I go back, I control panel, notice that they are all sorted. So I can also select them and hide them from toolbar and from terminal. Now I know exactly which cargo I'm moving things into. So all the ice into one at least. Okay, that one's full already. So cargo bunker 3, get ice. Okay, cargo bunker 3 is almost full. There it is, it's full. Now cargo bunker 2 gets ice. And there's ice over here. Wow, it's already full. Okay, we'll need more cargo space. So let's add, I think, interior plates. Let's switch to my personal inventory and add 2 more. I'm gonna rotate them so that they're all nice and aligned. Like that. And then on the other side, I'm gonna put another one. On the other side I have this configuration over here. I don't need this configuration anymore because it's already attached to the ground, right? Through the cargo containers. So I can get rid of the plates. I'm gonna get full of inventory here. There we go. Let's move the battery. Okay. Once you lock the grids, the power will feed from the rover down to this system. So I'm not worried about grinding away the battery. We just lost a few resources. We can now conveniently queue the battery. Power cells. There they are. Okay, a few more. And then one more time, and we have a full working battery. Excellent. Let's remember to set it to recharge as well. Now we can put cargo on the other side. Again, I'm gonna rotate. Okay, we're gonna have to get cobalt. Oof, absolutely. Okay, production queue. Yeah, we're gonna be missing cobalt. Okay, so I'm gonna get cobalt and I'll be right back. We may need to wait until the refiner processes it, but it should be enough for a long time of cobalt. Okay, so be right back. All right, let's get some cobalt.
Inventory full.
Okay, so let's go back and bring the cobalt to base and refine it. Okay, we're back at base. Now I can just drop the cobalt in and the refiner should be able to process it. Let's put it here in the rover where there's room. Make sure the refinery starts collecting it. Nope. Let's look and check if the refinery is on. Rover refinery Y. Let's try. Okay, let's look at the refinery Y and see why not. It's not in. It's on. Ingots, stone, blacklist. So it should be able to accept the ore. Let's do this. Let's open here. Look for the cobalt. Hide empty on this side. There's the cobalt. Now over here, let's look for refinery. Refinery Y and try to move it manually. Okay, no, there's something blocking it. Something blocking it. Let's go back and inspect our rover and see why our rover is not able to process, even though the sorters are correct. This is the speed one. Ah, look, we have a damaged component from last time. I did not notice that this was damaged. So let's get. Oh, okay, we gotta do it again. Okay, let's get the components, fix it. Cannot withdraw. Small CO2 production. Make them. Cannot withdraw them. I think there's something wrong with the assembler as well. Okay, that's working now. The assemblers are going to be here. No, looks like the assemblers are connected. Working properly. It may be the generators when they're off. No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. Okay, well, that fixed it. Now the refinery has turned on and it was able to retract on its own the cobalt. So let's confirm. There it is. Yep, it's processing the cobalt. So I'm just gonna come back once I have enough cobalt to weld both boxes. Okay, I think I have. Let's see, maybe not. And then put the production queue. Right, Is that it for this one? No. It's the same issue, I think. Small steel tubes. Okay, we have one. And we need this one. Okay, it's producing. Let me check the assemblers. Assemblers out. Let's say drain all, yes. Drain them all. Not the ingots though. Assemblers out. Otherwise it will create a loop. And we don't like loops, okay? Yeah, as the assemblers produce, now they will be their inventory will be cleared. I think that was what's causing the issue. Hydrogen tank over here. Recharge. We have withdrawn successfully. Okay, nice. We have 5 large cargo containers down here. Now let's make sure to name them properly. Control panel, cargo bunker 4, cargo bunker 5. Toolbar, terminal, and now inventory this bunker, cargo. Now let's look for all the ice, like here. All the ice that's in the rover. Okay, that's good. That's it. That's all that there was, I guess. Excellent. Oh no, there's a cargo cryo that we have to fix. Okay, let's fix the cargo over there because it does have ice. It's full of ice. This one that we removed the metal grids for. Now we can finish it since we have cobalt again. Switch to personal inventory. Produce the metal grids. Let's check. Now we'll be able to know if... Why are you not missing items? You should be able to. The assemblers are full. Okay, control panel. Assemblers. Then I'm gonna turn off the in. Add ingots to the drain. Check them. I'm gonna search for them. No, they don't have. So here I'm going to manually move them, empty them out. Control panel in, drain all off, ingots, okay. So we can turn in and out, remove ingots. And now the assemblers are producing again. Then where are the metal grids? There we go. There's something odd about the system. Okay, over here, this one is full. This one's empty. Okay, cargo bunker 5. We're gonna put everything, all the components, all the ice that's not there, not in the rover. So like this, all these components that are in the rover right now, all the ingots. We're pretty much emptying out the rover now. Because before we dig another drill, we'll have to get a ton of stone, and that's gonna be the components that we'll use to build whatever base down there. We won't need, maybe the cobalt we can use, but for now, we can just empty out the, here's the cargo cryo. Okay, now let's check our hydrogen tanks and see how they're all doing. 38%, nice. 40%. Ah, looks like, are we missing a hydrogen tank? No. Looks like we are. There should be 2 tanks in the rover. We've been lucky. This one and this one, they're both there. Oh well. It's all good. So what we'll do now is try to translate. We don't need these cargo containers anymore. So we'll move the generators and the hydrogen tanks down there, and I will use stockpile to transfer the H2. Okay, so I'll be back when I produce a 4. How many we have? We have 6. We have 6. We'll put 6 hydrogen tanks down here, and then we'll be back. All right, guys. So I have created tanks down in the bunker, and I'm gonna look for them here. I've already grouped them, and I've already grouped the surface tanks. So I want to make sure that the surface tanks, the one that we built temporarily, are not on stockpile. So notice stockpile is off. Stockpile is to exactly that, stockpile the hydrogen. So it'll absorb it from the system in order to hoard it, to keep it inside, fill up the space. So notice that they are 39% full. So we don't want to lose that hydrogen. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for our rover hydrogen tanks. Those are very important. We want to make sure they're on stockpile. and we can look for them. They're gonna be the ones that are highlighted. Here's one, and now look how fast that's filling up. Wow. All right, already full. Okay, so that one is already full, and then the other one, there's another one. Well, the other one is already full. I don't have to look for it. But now that those are stockpiled, I can stockpile the bunker ones because I didn't want the rover ones to be drained. So as long as they stay in stockpile on, the bunker ones won't be able to drain hydrogen from my rover. So now I can turn on the stockpile on the bunker tanks and we can see them filling up. They're already 17%. Wow, really, really quickly. And that's it. So if I look now, I can hide my bunker tanks from my terminal and I can look at my surface tanks. Okay, and I can show them in terminal. There they are. And notice that they're empty, fully empty. They just had 39% hydrogen not long ago, and now it is these ones at the surface that are full. So having that stockpile on, those ones at the surface will not be getting any hydrogen from the generators. So next step would be to install generators at the bottom, or you can get rid of these ones. These ones are full of ice. So I'm gonna remove the ice in these generators, put it in the bottom, and then install generators in the bottom and get rid of everything at the surface level, like all the storage containers, all the hydrogen tanks, all the generators, and the configuration up to the pistons that are still the only connection that I have. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that and I'll show you once I've removed all these temporary components. All right, we're back, and now I have been able to move the hydrogen all the way to the bottom of the bunker. I've moved also the generators. I've installed oxygen tanks, and you can notice the configuration because this configuration allows me to attach the blocks to each conveyor port. That's important if this generator breaks down. For example, the engine is still connected to the tank and will operate. So that way it doesn't matter if one component breaks, it's not gonna break the link of the subsequent blocks that are connected. So that's the idea there. Then I'm adding allowing space here for maybe a refiner or assemblers if you need to, because look, there's plenty of stone, and we can always install drills and collect stone easily to build other starships and drones and all that kind of stuff. Finally, next episode, I am going to lay down a floor at the level of this connector, and then so I leave a one block gap for conveyor ports so that I can connect things underneath, and then probably install around it batteries underneath these probably underneath these engines and generators. I'll install batteries all around so that I have always a ton of power in order to recharge whatever blocks. Just like this one, I'll just fill it up with batteries, and after that those engines down there will recharge the batteries using the hydrogen, so that we already have not just hydrogen, but we also already have power. We have converted the ice into hydrogen and then the hydrogen into power, and now we can recharge whatever by just setting, for example, the rover batteries on recharge, and then they'll drain the power down there. Um, and recharge in no time. So we wouldn't even have to turn on the engines or stockpile the hydrogen. The hydrogen is going to serve us to recharge while we're on the go. Um, okay. So while we're on the go, if we run out of power and we don't have a way to get back to base to recharge, we'll turn on the rover engines and then recharge using the hydrogen tanks. Plus, the hydrogen tanks will also transport hydrogen from this location possibly to some other base location that we're just starting out and settling in. But yeah, I think that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed so far. Please don't forget to like, hit, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell to get notified when we go live, and don't miss out when we finish building the base, because I think that I'm gonna build a nice base here in the bunker. I may do a live stream. So if you hit the notification bell, you'll get notified when we are live, and you'll join us to see the base build live, and I can possibly answer any questions you may have or whatnot. But for between then, I'll put the batteries down, and yeah, I think that would be it. I'll put two refineries with speed modules on either side, and assemblers, and then we'll just decorate the base live. Okay, so that's that. There's that, and plenty more to come next episode. See you then.